So why would someone who hates running do that?
Honestly, it started with just camaraderie. Like, hey, let's go run this marathon. Like, all right, let's do it. Then you run one, then you run another, then you're like, man, it's not bad. One thing I love about running is it helps me clear my mind, clear my head. Running is about the only sport I think that's actually fair. Running is one of those things, even if you got short legs or long legs, you just got to get to the same distance that person's getting to without any other factors. You know what I mean? It's just your body, the pavement you run.
That's not much of a change for you, right?
My name is Carey Kight. I used to load bombs in the Air Force, and now I'm a writer, a filmmaker, and an entrepreneur. Through using the post 9/11 GI Bill to go to college, working hourly jobs to pay the bills, and freelancing my way into a career, I've studied what it takes to successfully transition from service to civilian, and that study has become a conversation. On this podcast, I speak to other veterans, successful artists and entrepreneurs about their transition, what they did well, where they failed, what they learned, and most importantly, how they applied their skills. Episode 138 features Johnny Glenn, an Army Special Forces veteran and Ultrarunner, participant in Team RWB's Old Glory Ultra Relay. Welcome. This is Veteran Made. Our merch store is live at store.veteranmadeproductions.com. Grab hats, t-shirts, and hoodies in both performance and tri-blend cotton fabrics. Use code VM-5OFF for 5% off your purchase. Veteran Made is also sponsored by GoPills, a military-grade nootropic that contributes to brain health over time. Use code VM15 at checkout for 15% off. I get my collagen protein from Bubs Naturals, where you can use code VETERANMADE, all one word, at checkout for 20% off your order. We're also proud to partner with True Made Foods, which makes condiments free from added sugar and sweetened with real foods. Use code VET at checkout for 15% off. We love socks in this house. I get my wife new socks every Christmas. More importantly, we love American-grown and made socks. Use code VETERANMADE15 at rucksocks.com for 15% off. And lastly, I end my day with Rack Out from Bravo Actual to maintain quality sleep, resulting in a well-rested body and mind. Use code VETERANMADE with a space between the words at checkout for 15% off your order. Enjoy the episode.
All right. After some technical difficulties that we have worked through, we are live. Good evening from the great state of Ohio for me. And good evening from the great state of North Carolina. Johnny motherfucking Glenn, welcome to Veteran Made.
Hey, thanks, brother. Glad to be here. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm glad to have you here. It's been fun getting to know you offline as we've been at UHP together and shooting some stuff and having some conversations. I'm excited to record this.
Yes, sir.
All right. For those who don't know who you are, just give us a brief primer on who you are and where and when you served, and we'll jump into some running questions.
Johnny M.F. Glenn, as Carey just stated, Johnny motherfucking Glenn, born and raised in South Georgia, and I served in 3rd Special Forces Group for over 2 decades, and now I'm still staying here, residing in Sanford, North Carolina, and that's about it, man. Pretty simple.
Yeah, man, I love it. So running is something that we all have to do in PT, depending on the job, depending on the MLS. It's a little more running or a little less running. Obviously, as you went through the Q course and were active, you had to stay in good shape. But like in terms of running long distances, is that something like how did you get into it, interested in it, like, or are you even into it?
I actually hate running, to be honest with you. I think running is the dumbest thing, bro. But like you said, the military, you start doing it, and then you start, you do it more, and then sometimes, you have guys that are runners. But I basically just started doing it because it was something like when I was growing up, I was always an athlete, so I always sprinted. So I never really did distance running. So I went to basic training. Actually, the first 2 times I failed my 2-mile run time. I just couldn't run. I couldn't breathe. And then once I got to my first duty station, I was like, all right, I'm going to get better at this because I'm so competitive. Then I just started running, getting better at it. But I didn't really start doing like ultras and marathons and stuff like that until late in my career. I ran a couple of 10Ks, 5Ks. But honestly, even to this day, brother, I hate running. I fucking hate running.
So when did you start running marathons and ultras while you were still active? Were you still in?
Yeah, I ran my first couple of marathons while I was still in. I think I ended up running like the Louisiana Mardi Gras Marathon back in 2000 and something or another. And ran a few of those, and then I ran a couple more marathons, ran some races around Bragg, ran a couple up in, D.C., and then after that, it just kind of got like, all right, if my buddy was running, hey, running this marathon, I'm like, all right, I'll show up, and then I would just run.
So why would someone who hates running do that?
Honestly, it's more of like, it started with just camaraderie. Like, hey, let's go run this marathon. Like, all right, let's do it. then you run one, then you run another, then you're like, man, it's not bad. But I hate running. But one thing I love about running is it helps me clear my mind, clear my head. And it's one of those things where everybody talk about, everything is equal, everything is not. I think running is about the only sport I think that's actually fair. Because you can have short legs or you can be big and tall, but nobody's not running into you like football. Or it's not baseball where they're just overpowering you with pitches. Or, it's golf. You can't swing the club as fast. But running is one of those things, even if you got short legs or long legs, you just got to get to the same distance that person's getting to without any other factors. You know what I mean? It's just your body, the pavement you run. So for one reason I started.
So for you, was it just like being competitive? Like
That's it. Just being competitive. That's it.
Yeah. How did you do in those races that you were running?
I actually did pretty good. I started out, I think my very first marathon I ran like a 4:20 or something like that. It was sub fours. Or I'm sorry, it was 4:20, 4:30, somewhere around in there, 4:18 maybe. And I was like, man, that's not bad. But then I looked left and I looked right and I was like, man, these people are sucking. And I'm like, I didn't even train for this. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah. So on that note, like, we talked a little bit about this when we were bunking at UHP, like your approach to training for these long distance running events is a little bit different than other people. Like you don't do protocols, like you don't do specific run training. You just you stay in shape, living your life and doing your thing, and then you get out there and just compete. Like what is that? Unpack that a little bit. Like what is that actually like?
I think it's more of like one of those things like guys like go out and they run, like they get to a strict run plan, they run on that, they run on that, they run on that. Well, I think once you run on that so much that your body gets kind of used to that training plan, so it's going to give you exactly what you're asking for. Whereas for me, I work out on my farm, I stay in shape, I hit the gym up, but then come race day, it's almost like, I don't know, I feel like I'm Michael Jordan on race day. It's like, all right, dude, now it's actually it's time to get it. And so my thing is, I do enough to maintain, but everything I do is working up towards whatever I'm doing. And then at that point, I think it's all guts and all heart. And then it's just, hey, dude, like, where can I put my mind on distance running, especially ultras? I tell people all the time, I think an ultra is the easiest thing out there. People are like, no, it's 100 miles. I'm like, as long as you eat and fuel and just keep going and don't quit, you'll finish. You know what I mean? Like, you will finish.
Why is it the easiest?
Because you're just putting one foot in front of the other. You're not, unless you're out there trying to win the ultra, or if you're just trying to like set a PR, then you're out just running on your own. So it's, to me, the people that are strong at it are the people that can say, I can lose my mind anywhere. I can be like, all right, dude, I'm back on them dirt roads in Georgia. I'm just running. All right, dude, I'm eating a good meal at Golden Corral. Man, this chicken sure is good. And I'm just running. And it's just one foot in front of the other. So, and then one thing about an ultra, reason why I think they're easier is because you can stop when you want. Nobody's holding your foot to the fire. You know what I mean? You can stop running when you want. You can eat when you want. I've seen people sleep on ultras. So to me, it's more of like, if you know your body and you're in tune to your body, and you can kind of say, I'm going to go this distance. I'm going to walk this distance. I'm going to rest this distance. And I'm going to run hard this distance. You're going to finish.
So it's a matter of like doing what's right for you and understanding your own body and your own
That's
mind,
it.
your own understanding.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because
so
I feel like
go ahead.
I feel like when you start, like with me, every time I want to train to get better, for me to run, whether I'm running a short race or a long race, I go hit the pool and I do breath holds. Because the way I look at it, and it's almost the same thing as people going out doing sprints. All you're doing, the lungs are muscles, so you're trying to expand that capacity of the lung. Well, I do that just getting in the pool, holding my breath, going to the bottom, blowing all my air out, shooting to the top, getting one breath, expanding the lungs, coming back down. Saving my knees, not hurting my back. It's just working my lungs. And that's one of the things I like to do. But if I look at a training plan, it's like, go run 4x8 100s. I'm like, dude, I'm not doing that.
So what kind of distance training do you do, if any?
I usually run, like, I don't run every day like some runners. Usually I pick Sunday as my long days because I'm a fat kid. So I love to eat. So I eat like crap. And then like on Sundays, I know I'm going to eat, like if my daughter makes a strawberry pie, or if I get some type of like sweet, or if I go to the bakery or something, it's almost like I feel guilty Saturday. So what I do is I pick out on Saturday and Sunday. I'm like, all right, I gotta run this off. And then I'll go out and I'll run. And a lot of times I'll start out at a 10-minute mile, 11-minute mile, and then I'll run. And as I'm running, my body tells me, I'll tell myself, hey, I'm running for 4 hours a day. And I'm just out there just running, you know, I try to do like a scenic route through town where I see people or I'll see something. And then I get some music going. Then before I know it, I'm like, oh man, I'm running pretty good now. And then what I'll do is if my body tells me to speed up, I speed up. Tells me to slow down, I slow down. And my thing is if you reward your body when you're supposed to, it'll perform when you need it to. And that's kind of what I do.
You just know yourself and you know your body.
I know my body, yep.
So when did you start getting into ultras?
I think I ran my first ultra, what year were we in? 2025? I think I ran my first ultra 2016, if I'm not mistaken.
And what made you want to attempt that?
My buddy. I had a buddy that was running one, like, hey man, come run this 100 mile with me. I'm like, all right, dude, cool. I'll come run it. I think it was a 50 actually. Yeah, it was a 50. I think it was a JFK 50. We ran the JFK 50, and then after that, I was like, all right, dude, I'm good. And then that day, we were like 4.5 hours away. Well, he got a hotel. He went back home. He's going to get an ice bath. I jumped in my truck. I was like, hey man, I'll get back to the farm. I got some animals I got to take care of. And I drove back home that night, laid down in bed, got up the next morning, and I was sore, but I felt fine. And he texted like, hey, how you feeling? I sent him a video. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm out at the farm. I'm chasing this goat down or cow or whatever. He's like, dude, you're an animal. I was like, no, dude, it wasn't all that bad. You know, I felt great. So after that, I just kind of like, and then my buddies would call me like, hey, we're doing this ultra. Then I would look them up online. Like, all right, I'm gonna go try this one. That was just go run it.
Just as a competitive thing.
Just a competitive thing. I'd look at like what the record was. And I'm like, all right, I know I'm not gonna run the record, but I'm gonna go finish in the top 10%. And for the most part, I would show up and I'll finish in the top 10, 20%.
So how did you get involved with, before we get to the Old Glory Ultra Relay, how'd you get involved with Team RWB as an organization?
Well, RWB, oh, that goes way back. So Mike Irwin, the founder of RWB, he used to be our intelligence officer in 3rd Special Forces Group. So when he first started RWB, of course, you know, he's giving out the T-shirts and guys was rocking the RWB shirts. And, you know, it's a free T-shirt. I'm going to make this thing look good. Give me a T-shirt. Let's do it. And then you just kind of like, after that, it's just kind of like one of those things like, all right, you know Mike, he stands for positive. He's doing a good thing. And at the time, I was active duty, so I wasn't a veteran at the time. So I would do some things with Team Red, White, and Blue, but not a lot because I was still active duty. And even though active duty members are on it, to me, it was more like, all right, dude, I got more stuff to do. I really didn't have the time at the time to do it. And then once I retired, you know, I became a member of it. And then I just started to do a little more. Like if they were doing something in the Sand Hills, I would show up and run or do something and hang out with them. And then it's just being around like-minded people. And that's kind of how I got involved.
Yeah, it's this great thing of like this community through fitness, right? Like just being around other people that are competitive and not necessarily competitive to win, like you're describing, right? But competitive with themselves and then getting out, like you've said, right? Like your buddies dragged you along to a marathon, your buddy dragged you along to a 50K, your buddy, you know, drove you or dragged you along for a 100-miler, right? Like it's that idea of community through fitness, like getting out, being competitive with yourself, while also just moving your body and learning about yourself and other people when you're around them.
Facts. Yeah, my favorite saying is a body in motion needs no lotion. And I started saying that on my podcast, and people laugh at me like, hey, so I worked with the Senator of Arizona for a while, Senator Cinnamon. And the first time she heard that, she sends this email. Do you know what you just said? I was like, yeah, body in motion needs no lotion. She's like, Johnny, go ahead, that just don't sound right. I was like, no, man, body in motion needs no lotion. She's like, all right, Mr. Body in motion needs no lotion. So then it just kind of stuck. And her and Dan, one of her coworkers was always teasing me about it. But that's my thing. Just keep moving.
Yeah. It's like we have this idea that like we have to, you know, create motivation when in reality it's just getting momentum and then sustaining the momentum. Yep. In this case, it's a physical thing, right? Like the physical event of running long distance is the avatar for it, but it applies to other things in our lives, right? Like we just need to keep moving forward. And like you said earlier on one of the runs that you were talking about on a Sunday, right? Oh, my body's telling me right now I'm running a 10-minute mile. I'm just going to keep going that pace. I'm going to increase it a little bit. Oh, I'm running real well right now. Well, my body's telling me I need to slow down a little bit. So I'm going to listen to myself. I'm going to understand where I am in this moment and then stack those moments on top of each other and then finish the race, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's funny you say that, stacking moments, because that's how I live my life. I stack moments and then I dig and I reach back to those moments when, like when I lost my mom and my dad within 4 or 5 months of each other. I stack those things. I hold them near and dear. And that's why I told you down UHP, like, hey, if y'all can hear me, don't listen to that. Because, dude, I was giving myself the business. I was yelling, cursing at myself, like, it's just a back. Why are you being weak? You know, because I was picturing my dad was talking to me. So I was pulling those moments out.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because we made you get an ice bath, right? You're like, no, I'm not trying to get an ice bath. My back is hurting, you know. And you were bitching and moaning about your back, but it was like this kind of positive, version of bitching and moaning, right? Where you were like,
Yep.
no, I'm working myself up. I'm psyching myself up. I'm here for the team, right? Like I'm here
Yep.
with the team. Like I got to be here. We all have to go do this, and we have to do it together. And I got to do my part. So I'm gonna bitch and I'm gonna moan and I'm gonna keep my body moving, and then I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I did it. And I think that was
Yeah.
the worst thing I did because my back was jacked up after that for like 2-3 weeks when I got back. I was
Yeah.
like, I think it was just a cold and locked up moment. I was like, oh my God, I can't even move. And
Yeah.
then, but like, and Mike and JJ had told me, don't run. If you feel like you're hurt, don't run. But like you said, it's part of being a team. It's part of being there. It's part of showing the team that, hey, if we're 2,200 miles into this thing and I got to gut it out, I'm going to gut it out just like everybody else would. So it is what it is. You do what you got to do for the team.
So how does your physical approach, your training approach, your different approach from the other 11 runners and this mental model, this mindset approach, how is it integrated onto the team at large? And obviously, which team are you on, by the way, of the individuals?
Team Red.
You're on Team Red. So like, how's it integrated into Team Red? And then how's it integrated into the whole Old Glory Ultra Relay team?
I think for me, integrated in my team, I think that, everybody knows me. I'm a clown. I like to have fun. I don't take life as serious because it's life. You should have fun. So I think as far as on a team, I think our team, they're calling us the old team because we are the oldest team. But I think with our team, I think with that oldness comes like almost like a hardness also. Like, like I feel like when the rubber meets the road and then things get harder, I think that's where, it's like life experiences. The longer you live, for the most part, the more experiences you got over someone that's younger. Not always the case, but usually the case. That's why they say old men are like they're wise because they've been there, they've done that. Just like I feel like when we start the race, my biggest thing is somebody getting sick or the teammates getting sick. But what I'm not worried about is, like I feel like the younger guys, like I'll pick on Jordan right here because Jordan's super fast. I feel like if Jordan sees a whole bunch of young, beautiful women holding up signs and saying Jordan, he's going to run a 5-minute mile and be like, oh my God, I'm smoked. Whereas me, I'm going to look at him and be like, oh yeah, they lying. And I'm going to keep my same pace, brother, and get where I need to go. Now, 20 years ago, I'd have been like, chest out, let me get the guns flexed. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that whole age with that mental thing, you know your body, you understand your body, and you know when, for at least me, I know when to turn it on, I know when to turn it off. And that's the difference, I think, between good athletes and great athletes.
Yeah, and for an event like this, right? Like people are, in the audience have heard me repeat this over and over again. Like what JJ said at the beginning was, we're not looking for the 12 best runners. We're looking for the 12 best teammates, right? And so
Correct.
you can't have everybody stacking 5-minute miles, right? Like there's you guys are running 3,000 miles from San Diego to Washington, D.C. So there has to be different approaches, and the team has to come together in different ways, and not in some kind of woo-woo way of like the team coming together, but actually in a very tactical way of like, hey, this person's going to run this way at this pace to get us here, and then this person's going to run at this pace to get us to the next stage, and then we gotta keep stacking those shifts, right?
And I think for the most part, like our team, at least for our team, like the first day we ran, I know Mary plantar fasciitis was hurting a little bit, so we said as a team, hey, Cole was feeling it. He started out first, and that dude's just a beast. He's an animal. He ran the first 8 miles because we couldn't get to him. They had a Mardi Gras parade going to him, so we couldn't get to him. He was only supposed to run 4. He ran 8 miles in like a 6-minute mile. I'm like, dude, that dude's a beast. And got in the truck, stretched out, went and took him a dump real quick, and he's ready to go. And by the end of the race, between me, him, and Zach, we were like, hey, Mary's foot's hurting. Why make her run? Because this isn't a real thing. Why make her run 16, 17 miles when she can run, a lot less and save her foot when we start this thing in May? So I feel like as team and teammates, I think as the race goes on, as the run goes on, we're all going to be, and I've sent this to multiple people, I think by the end of this thing, we're all going to be rotated amongst all the teams. Because I think Murphy's out there and the elements out there. Somebody's going to get a cold. Somebody might get COVID. Somebody might get the flu. And if they do, then guess what? That person is running that day. And if it happens on one team, you get one person with the flu. If my team loses me and Cole, then that means it's only Mary and Zach. Then guess what? The smart thing to do is bring one runner from another team to our team. That way you can maintain that. and you got that flexibility to cross load and then continue mission.
So how does that kind of leadership translating, right? Because I would imagine, I haven't talked to all the runners yet, right, on the podcast, but I think to myself, like, you are all people who have completed ultra marathons, except for Zach, who we talked to this week, as of the recording of the podcast, who hasn't done that yet, but has still ran long distances. I would imagine that people, the competitive fire, the competitive nature that you're describing in yourself is going to come out in other people. They're probably going to say, no, I want to do my part. I want to contribute to the team. I want to run, right? So how's that leadership that you're describing translating now, this stage, 6 weeks away from the race? And how do you imagine it translates during the race?
I think during the race, it's just like in combat. On an SF team, I've seen guys shot with through and throughs. You know what I mean? They still want to be in the fight. And they are still in the fight. But hey, dude, I'm going to move you to the back now because you're a detriment to the team. So instead of me having you in a 4-man stack, I'm going to put you on outer security. You can still hold a gun with your hand. You got a through and through the arm. You're fine. Hold a gun and you still can do your part in the race. So for me, as a leader, or I don't like to call myself a leader, as a guy part of the team, what I would tell somebody, or even if it's me, if I know, hey, my back just started hurting for whatever reason, then what I'm going to do is like, hey, dude, my back's hurting. I'm going to still give you what I got. But when I'm not, if I can't run 16 miles a day and I can give you 12 or 13, while I'm not running those times and you guys are picking up my slack, I'm cleaning up the truck. I'm making sure sandwiches are made. I'm making sure the food is there. We always say in the SF community, we're doing CQB or anytime we're doing a direct action hit, our favorite motto is find work. So if you're not gainfully carrying a flag, then you need to be finding work, cleaning the truck, driving. If I find out, hey, dude, if somebody can't go that day because they're hurting or whatever, Zach can't go or Cole can't go, I can't go, we better be driving the truck the whole day. Hey, dude, I'm driving. Nobody's got to worry about driving. When it's my turn to run, I'm going to run what I need to run, and I'm back on the steering wheel. So now you're giving those runners that are carrying slack that time, a little more recovery time, and then you're just trying to help them out so they can carry the slack. Because I feel like we're each going to have to carry each other's slack some point during this race. It's inevitable. It's coming.
Do you feel like that mindset is shared by the other 11 runners?
I don't think that's shared because it's one of those things where everybody wants to do their part. And I'll use me, for example, because I don't want to speak for nobody. Just like me, you saw me down at USP. I was hurt, man. I shouldn't even been running. And my doctor even told me, hey, if you're going to, I wouldn't run. You need to take another week off. Let your muscles slowly start to relax and contract properly, and you'll be fine. But I still came down there and ran because, as you said earlier, that competitive nature is in us. But as a team, that's where we got to step back and say, hey, guys, you're hurting us by competing when you know you're hurt. As opposed to like, hey, let me take this day where I don't have to run as hard because Johnny, Zach, and Cole and Mary's feeling it. Or, if a team's running that day and they're actually feeling it, I'm not telling them to do more than their 16 miles per guy. But if all 4 guys are feeling that day, don't go out and run 25 or 26. But instead of doing 16, stretch that out to 18 or 20. Because now you just did a little bit more for the other team. And guess what? One day when you're not feeling it, the other team's feeling it. Hey, let them get it. But I hope that's being shared by everybody.
Yeah, and I wasn't asking in a leading way to call anybody out. More than anything, I'm just curious because as a community, again, using this race and using elite athletic competition as an avatar for it, like that idea that you're describing is something that we can all use in life, right?
Yep.
We all come from communities, whether we're in the SF community or a support community or another ground unit or aviation, whatever it was, right? We all have a mindset that there's a certain mindset required to be in the military, right? There's a certain competitive fire that you need to have. And then when you get out of the military and you're working and living and doing all of the things that you need to do as a whole human being that doesn't have the combat or combat related responsibilities anymore, that desire to just go is always there, but it's not always the smartest thing to do. It's not always the most efficient thing to do. It's not always the most effective thing to do. And so stepping back, reframing and saying, all right, where am I right now? Where are my teammates right now? Where can I serve them best to accomplish this task, accomplish this mission?
Yep, I totally agree. And that leads into my whole body emotion needs no lotion because a lot of veterans, and you've seen it, I've seen it amongst my friends. So all my friends on Instagram that's watching this, Green Berets in particular, I'm going to call you guys out. You sit around, you're a tough Green Beret, you made up 0.001% of the Army, you retire, the military says you're 100%, and you sit on your ass, you be lazy, you eat, you drink, you get fat, and you stop moving. Then you gain weight and you're like, oh man, I was going to run, but my back hurt. Well, when you're carrying a small Asian child in your stomach, that's part of what's going to make your back hurt. So at the end of the day, we got to keep, even when we retire, like you say, guys lose that fire. And we shouldn't, but guys do. So.
Yeah, it requires that reframing and that refocusing. Like, what is my new mission in life? What am I doing? Right? Like, I talked about it with I think I talked about it with JJ and Sully. Definitely talked about this with Jason. Right? Like, now you got to be fit for life. Right? You're a dad. I'm a dad. We got another baby on the way. Right? Like, I want to be fit to be with my kids. I want to be fit to live my life. So I don't need to go hit the garage the way that I did when I was 18, 22, 25 years old. Right? Now I need to go do what I need to do, and then prioritize the other aspects of my life so that they complement each other and it's an integrated life, instead of just like, oh man, back in the day, I used to load a bunch of bombs and now I can't. It's like, well, there's a large gap in there, which is where you are now,
Yeah, I hate that back in the day. Well, back in the day, I was a stud. I'm like, yeah, dude, what you did back in the day means no. What are you doing now? What are you doing for yourself now? Because like you just said, I want to live healthy for my kids, my grandkids, grandkids. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be here as long as I can. If I fall dead tomorrow of a heart attack, nobody can say, oh, it's because he was fat and lazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just my time to go, and I'll take that,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, how is the training going? I know that you're clowning everybody for the Strava app. I want to hear a little bit more about that. It seems like you've got it in your craw a little bit.
Well, the thing is that everybody's like, I think it was Bill Savage, and Bill's my boy. I talked to Bill last time I was down at UHP, and it was Bill, Zach, everybody. Well, Zach Lover, and then Mary wasn't doing Strava, so I think the team was like, and I remember Bill asking on UHP, how are we going to hold people accountable? Which was a great question. How are we going to hold people accountable for this training? And I remember I looked at Bill and I was like, we got to hold people accountable for what we got to do. They shouldn't even be here. You mean like everybody should be training to their best ability? And I guess from where I came, nobody, and you can talk to anybody in themselves, nobody ever had to tell me, hey, Johnny, you need to work out. Hey, Johnny, you need to run. Hey, Johnny, you need to shoot better. Nobody had to tell me that because I knew what our mission was. And our mission was to bring each other home every time we deployed. So for me, when people are like, oh, I posted on Strava, it kind of rubbed me wrong. Like, I'm a grown man, dude. I'm an operator. I don't need nobody to tell me how to work out. I've been working out my whole life. You know what I mean? So, and then once I tried to do Strava, I was like, all right, dude, like this doesn't tell like how I train, because I train totally unorthodox than everybody else. I just posted some on Instagram today, and I put on there, how do I post this on Strava? Because I'm out running cows, I'm carrying feed, I'm carrying hay bales, you know what I mean? I'm chasing goats, I'm chasing mules, I'm chasing my donkey, I'm riding my horse, and all that stuff from start to finish. Like today, I think I had 27,000 steps today.
Yeah.
And in between those 20,000 steps, 10,000 of those are me sprinting. When I'm running back to the barn to get something or carrying something over my head. And it's just a full body workout all day long. You can't put that on Strava. Because at the end of the day, I keep telling them about it. The race we're going to do now, it's not an ultra. We got some great runners, don't get me wrong. But this is not an ultra. This is, if somebody asks me right now, what's going to make or break us, it's how fast you can recover. So you run your 16 miles, can you recover?
Yeah, it's funny. Side note on your Instagram post from today, as of the recording, not the release of this episode. I came downstairs and I was making some lunch, and Dre was on her phone at the kitchen counter, and she just like started laughing. She was like legitimately LOLing, laughing out loud. And I was like, "What are you laughing at?" She's like, "Man, Johnny just posted a video of him carrying goats, and he was like, how do I post this on Strava?" And like we just both like died laughing. But it's interesting too, right? Because like you bring up a great point. The way that you need to train is the way that you need to train. And you've got a life to live. You've got animals to care for. You got family to care. You got all these things that you got to do. So in order to train for this real life event that is going to interrupt your life because you're going to be gone for 2 weeks while you do this, like you have to train the way that you need to train, both your body and your mind. Right. Mm-hmm. And so this idea of changing who you are in order to accomplish something is nonsense. Like if you changed who you were in order to accomplish this, well, then you wouldn't be the person that they put on the team, and you wouldn't be the best version of yourself that you could be on the road. Right.
Yeah. And I haven't, like, I think I posted 3 or 4 times on Strava, and then I realized like, nah, dude, this makes no sense. Like, why am I recording everything I do in my run? You know what I mean? Like, or whatever I'm doing to work out.
Yeah. You just said something interesting that I've actually thought about for the last several weeks as I've been recording these episodes and getting ready to make this film. I'm not a runner, right? So like I I used to be, you know, I've got some injuries. I do other things. I ruck, I row, I swim. I do some other things, you know, to stay healthy from a cardio standpoint and kind of get those reps that I miss from running. So I'm not a runner, but you said this isn't an ultra.
No.
Is something different. And I've had
Oh,
that thought as I've been listening and researching and getting ready for this. Like, it's actually not an ultra.
not even
It's something
close.
entirely different. So say more about that.
So I say it's not an ultra because just like I said earlier, when you're out there running an ultra, you by yourself, you stop when you want, you walk when you want, you eat when you want, you do all that stuff when you want. Well, this is on the clock. So we're running for a time. So when I'm not running, I need to be doing things to get ready to run. And when I'm out there running, if I'm hurting, it ain't an ultra where I'm going to go, all right, dude, I'm going to walk for the next 10 minutes, get my legs back under me, then I'm going to take off again. And one thing I'll say about an ultra, which I think an ultra is a lot easier than what we're about to accomplish, is because after you run an ultra, whether 50 or 100 or 250, guess what? You're done. So in my head, I can tell myself I'm running 100 miles in 24 hours regardless, I'm done. But this thing, the first 24 hours, you ain't even got started yet. You mean? That's what I'm saying, day 3, day 4, that's when I think it's going to set in like, holy shit, man, we've been getting up, getting down every day, and this train ain't stopping. So, you know, I just don't think it ain't nowhere close to what an ultra is.
Yeah. You were talking about recovery. What are you putting in place for recovery for yourself? And what is the rest of the team talking about for recovery on the road? Because you're also not recovering in a normal environment. You're
Exactly.
recovering in a mobile environment. You got 3 different RVs driving down the road. You're going to be attending events and doing all kinds of different things. So what kind of recovery, what mindset are you bringing to recovery, and what mindset is the team bringing to recovery?
I think the mindset, I'll go with the team first. The mindset that the team's bringing into in the recovery mode is that, you know, all these guys are great runners. You got Cole, you got Bill, Jordan, Zach, all these guys, Lindsay, Mary, the whole 9 yard, you know, Gavin, Josh, all these guys are great runners. So they got their own, you know, recovery thing that they do, whether that's an ice bath, heat, ice, whatever. Me personally, and I know this sounds terrible, brother, I'm old school. I'm going to pop a cup of motion. I'm going to lay my butt down in the back of that van somewhere because I can sleep anywhere. I'm going to sleep and I'm going to eat something. I'm going to wake up and I'm doing it all over again. Because this event to me, I'm putting it in mindset of when I first went to selection or ranger school. Every day is like Groundhog Day. You're doing the same thing. You wake up, dude. You know the deal. You throw that tick on your back. You throw that ruck on. You're like, damn it. And every day, that ruck felt like it got heavier and heavier and heavier. But the closer you got, the lighter that ruck felt like it got. So for me, it's just, hey, every day, I'm going to wake up. Yeah, I won't do ice baths. That's not my thing. I'll take some hot showers at night. I'll do the same thing I do at home. I'll take some hot showers at night, pop some Motrin, and then, you know, if Doc got something, maybe a lidocaine patch, or I use some ointment. It's like a horse ointment that you can rub on you. It's like BioFreeze on steroids. I'll probably use that. But other than that, that's about it for me. You know what I mean? Like, because when you look at it from a different standpoint, because I've looked this thing every which way but loose. I don't sleep much at night, so the sleep won't affect me. But what I look at is when you look at it 16 miles a day, it's not a lot of miles. But what's going to hurt guys and me and girls is the 16 miles plus driving, plus eating on the road, plus not sleeping like you just said in your normal environment, and then eating like crap. Your body ain't gonna want to poop the way you normally poop. It's just not. I don't think our body's gonna ever get to like a natural state where, all right, now I'm comfortable with this. And when it does, we'll probably be crossing the line in DC like, hey man, let's get up and do this again tomorrow. Let's run back. Because now you'll be in a state where, all right, you know, they say it takes 30 days or 14 days, 7 days to make a habit. So it's going to take us that long to get in a habit of actually what we're doing every day, getting up, going to sleep, you know, trying to have our body's recovery. So I think the recovery piece, I think that's going to be individually. And then, you know, people on my team, you got me yelling in the van, who's going to carry the boats? They're going to get tired of hearing that shit. I was golfing with a buddy today. He says, dude, you're annoying the fuck out of me. Hey, what'd you get on that hole? He's like, oh, I got a par. I was like, nah, dude, you got a bogey. I counted. And I literally had him pissed off, dude. Like by hole 18, he's ready to quit. Because I was just like, but that's me, and that's what I'm going to do. It's just like we was running the mock run. I yelled out the one at Zach. I'm like, hey, if you're going to run slow, you might as well get back in the van, bro. And he's just like, oh, whatever, you know. But you think about it. Day 1, that's going to be fun. By day 10, somebody's probably going to want to punch Johnny right in the mouth. Like, all right, I had enough of this shit. So, you know, it's going to be up and down. It's going to be a roller coaster.
How are you preparing for that? What you just said?
That for me, honestly, dude, like I live for that. Like I know this sounds shitty. I live for the suck, man. I remember in range school or every race I've ever done, you look left and you look right, and you see that person just like, oh, it's like, holy shit, dude, I got a burst of energy. Like I know I look bad, but not as bad as him. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then and not saying Green Berets are better than anybody, but our whole career, we're behind the enemy lines. We're living, eating the worst thing you could think of. You know, we're trying to buy stuff off the local. I remember my whole team getting dysentery and everybody's pooping all over the place, dude. And we're still making the best of that. So as you said earlier, those moments, when I start sucking, I always go back to those type of moments where this is bad, but all we're doing is running. I'm not getting shot, not getting blown up. I'm just running. So that's how I deal with it. And I laugh about it. Like, all right, dude, this sucks.
I love it. I love
Yep.
it. All right, so I want to start to wrap things up here. What does this event mean to you? Obviously, we're setting a world record. We're running across the country. We're landing at the National Mall in Washington, D.C., the future site of the Global War on Terror Memorial. What does participating in this event mean to you?
Ooh, that's chills, brother. Like, I'll be honest, and this is just me, and I don't want none of the runners to take this wrong way. I can give a damn less about the record. Like, I can care less about that. To me, what this race means to me, it's more of guys like, you know, Stanley Harriman. It's guys like Scott Dyer. It's guys like Dave Glenn. It's guys like Chris Shaw. It's guys that I'm naming right now. You know, they died for this country, minus Dave. All these guys made the ultimate sacrifices. Their sons, their daughters, their moms, their fathers will never see them again. So to me, it's way beyond a damn record. I can care less about the record. It's about their kids seeing, and their moms and their dads and their loved ones seeing that flag, and we're moving America forward. Math, that's my new saying. Moving America forward. We're moving America forward for the ultimate sacrifice that they made. Because when you look at our country as a whole, the things that we argue about, the things that are on the news, the things that are up for questioning, I'm like, I know damn well my brothers didn't die for us to argue about people kneeling during the national anthem, people burning a flag, and people worrying about what color somebody's skin is. They didn't die for that. So for me, it's more about moving America forward. So we're about to math it up. So the record, don't get me wrong, that's great. It'll go down in history. But on the same token, I want all my buddies and every, veteran or every service member, every first responder, every teacher, everybody out there that's trying to make this world a better place. That's what I feel like we're running for. And the health and welfare of veterans, of course. But at the end of the day, to me, it's more about this nation. Like, how do you get behind a movement that I feel like is going to be so strong that it actually starts to move our country into the direction it should be moving into, and not take 2 steps forward and 4 steps backwards. You know what I mean? So for me, it goes a little bit deeper than just a record.
Well said. Well said. Not a whole lot to add to that. We're going to link out to Team RWB and the Ogler Ultra Relay in the show notes, so people will be able to find where to donate and help with the cause. But where can folks find you on social and follow along for what you're doing?
Hey, I'm pretty easy to find on Instagram. I'm Johnny. Yeah, on Instagram, I'm Johnny MF Glenn. I'll let you decide what the MF stands for. That's Instagram, Johnny MF Glenn. And then I run a JMFG podcast, and my podcast is Just Making Family.
Oh, damn.
Because everybody's story is like DNA. It's unique. So I like to bring guests on, and I like them to share their stories so that, hey, what you just shared could actually be the life or death of somebody else, because they might be going through the same thing and might not know how to cope with it, might not know how to deal with it, but now they know they're not alone. And you can find me on my email address, jjglenn02@gmail.com. And you can always hit me up on Instagram, email, and all that good stuff. I'm pretty easy to find. If you Google me, I'll pop up all over the place. So pretty easy to find, brother.
I love it. I do think that I just lost your recording. Oh, but now it says it is. So we'll just keep rolling with it. And if I got to adjust it at the end, don't even worry about it. We'll figure it out. But Johnny, as you know, to end each episode of the podcast, I ask an open-ended question. What's on your heart and your mind for our community right now? Could be a piece of advice, something you want to get off your chest, or something you want to reiterate that we've talked about today. But Johnny, what's on your heart? What's on your mind?
What's on my heart? What's on my mind? And it's been on my heart and mind since we started this thing with the Ogler Ultra Relay. And I said it earlier. I like to see veterans as Team Red, White, and Blue is saying, let's be the forefront from now on. Let's be the tip of the spear. Because what I look at is when you were in the military, whether you served for one day or whether you served for 50 years, while you were in the military, and like you said, you got up, you did PT. You had brothers and sisters that was pushing you. So what's on my heart and mind is if you had that push back then, why not have that push now? It might not be the same, but you can incorporate that into your lifestyle. If you got kids, take your kids out and throw the baseball. Take your kids out and walk around the park. If you got a dog, walk your dog. Get that body in motion because the more fit you are, in my opinion, the longer you're going to live. That don't mean that your time won't be called early, but at least it won't be called over something as like a heart attack or a stroke, or because you just chose not to do more or give more. And one thing I'll add to that is that I feel like veterans getting 100% disability, I think that's an amazing thing. You served your country well, you got 100%, that's awesome. But 100% does not mean I'm 100% sit on my ass and do nothing. 100% means that, hey, the government realized you got injuries that probably might cut your life short or make your life harder to live. But guess what? You can still find things to do within that. Every morning I go to the gym, not every morning, every other morning I go to the gym and swim, I see old women and they're doing water yoga. I'm like, there ain't a guy out there that couldn't come do this water yoga. But they're doing it, and they're doing something to keep their bodies moving. So that's hard and heavy on my mind. Just, hey, get yourself out there and just start moving. I mean, just start doing something. Because if you look in the mirror and you say, man, I'm going to do something about this, then mean it. Do something about it. Well, other than that, that's hard and heavy on my mind because I feel like, veterans, I feel like we should be leading the world in everything we do. You know what I mean? We led our nation, now let's lead our country.
I love it. Well said, brother. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your energy. Appreciate the GOAT content.
Yes, sir.
Really looking forward to getting out on the road with you, man.
Yes, sir.